anyway. We could have like a little. Oh, sorry. Well, you've started a bit early. We could have like a little sort of like little music for maybe a few seconds before you. Anyway, you crack on.
Yeah, I suppose, mate. But don't forget the audio listeners are still going to listen to this little bit of rabble anyway. So no matter what we say, they're still going to have to listen to the boring fucking first 5 minutes.
All I can say is I hope you enjoyed that little intro there.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to what fucking season? Season 3, episode 37. I'm joined actually by your man Gilly, aka Perry from Kevin and Perry Go Large. How are you doing, Gilly?
That could be worse.
And Smarty's decided to wear a scum shirt tonight. Thanks, Smarty, for joining us. Oh, close though, isn't it? It's close.
Dirty bastard.
I mean, it is one of those, isn't it?
Good evening. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. Absolutely loads of shit to talk about. And we're actually, believe it or not, relatively in a good place, I suppose, aren't we? Because we've expected we've seen it coming, haven't we? Between us in the groups and that. Let's be honest, haven't we?
Well, I mean, I got some stick off Jay and Carl last week for saying, even last week, that we were down. I've been saying it. I think Palace was when I chucked in the towel, and it was one of those where I wanting it to happen. I wanting to be right. I just thought that we weren't going to come back from it, and so I'd kind of resigned myself to it. So yeah, of course, during the game, towards the end of the game, and after the game, I was pissed off. But you get over it.
We'll get into it a little bit more after. We'll get into it a little bit more after a bit of an intro, eh?
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
You look like fucking Brolin, you're a Leeds eating bastard.
Look like some sort of fucking weird floating head. No.
Utensil played a bit, innit?
I mean, I feel a bit right, dickhead.
Nothing spectacular, really.
What do I actually say there towards end? Now I feel a bit
right, dickhead.
Yeah.
That were back in the days when we used to get hammered, wasn't it? And come on the podcast and nobody listened. Like not even one person would just do it between us, and we'd just.
Well, we've got 45 on now, and that used to be the total engagement, audio, YouTube, Twitter. That's all we got.
Yeah,
I remember me and you once doing a Wolves Brady and Coke. Like I think in first season we might have had about 6 or 7 people watching.
Was it me?
Live.
Me?
Like fucking hell. No, me and you. But you got absolutely shit faced. We had Simon Johnson on with us.
Oh yeah.
I was pissed.
When you went to sleep?
He was pissed. He fell asleep. Fell asleep with a laptop in his hand.
Laptop just started going like this.
Can't speak. We didn't. He's gone. Anyway, it's nice to see you both.
Yeah, lovely to see you both. And look, just to go back to what we said about us sort of accepting, almost giving in. I think it's no. I wouldn't say giving in. I think we gave in a long time ago when we were absolutely plastered by Palace. I don't think we really. I've probably held a little bit more hope than the rest of you. In fairness, I would probably say a little bit more positivity and that, but yeah, I've come to terms with it now. We need nothing less than a fucking miracle next week. In fact, this weekend, it's not even. It's what 5 days, 6 days, 5 days away.
Miracle.
I need a miracle. They could score some goals, couldn't they? Them birds. And that video. Can you remember the video?
Yeah.
Indoor 5-a-side.
5-a-side. Yeah.
CD videos from the early noughties.
Is that the same time as that one that had the women all doing like with the
yes
push me
yes
and
that's it.
Benny Benassi.
Eric
Benny
Prince,
Benassi satisfaction, wasn't it?
Okay.
Benny Benassi and Eric Flat Eric was that was quite a good tune. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect us to be discussing this, but it's better than football.
It's better than the football. I
tell you what, though, Luke, I just want to point out I'm loving the vest.
Cheers, mate.
That's a point. Us three were in comments giving Jay some shit over his fucking bra that we were wearing last night, and you've come on in one as well.
On purpose.
Yeah, but we were completely ignored.
We were completely ignored.
It's almost a nod to Jay looking like Mick Foley last night.
I do have to say that yours is much nicer than his bra.
Yeah,
no homage in it. And there's less of his titty on show.
Yeah, and I don't have one of them battle flags on the corner of mine, the redneck battle flags or whatever they're called.
That was the one I was thinking
Confederate
of.
flag, was it?
That was the
Yes,
one.
that's it.
Call
Confederate
them
battle
both,
flag.
yeah.
Fucking do it.
Oof,
Jesus.
you what?
Oh,
Call
I
on
can't
me.
speak. Starting a
That
few.
was nice, funny, that
Oh,
video.
yeah, that was with leggings and leotards over the top.
Yes.
Doing yoga, wasn't there?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Bending all
I
over
sometimes
the
go
place.
to the gym and
Oh,
just
here we
watch
go.
yoga through the door.
Gilly, I think he looks a right tit in that. Now, does it mean he's looking at your right tit?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway,
Bullying
shall
Jamil
we
with
get into a bit of
faded
football?
in
maybe?
comments.
Oh,
Yeah,
do we
let's,
have
let's
to?
talk about football.
Yeah,
do it.
let's
Briefly.
First, just briefly, let's just talk a little bit about football because look, we've got a lot, actually, probably more to talk about because of the almost certainty now that we're going to be playing in the Championship next season. I feel let's just touch on West Ham. There's not a lot of great to say about it. I mean, Smarty, I know you don't watch Leeds anymore, so we won't bother coming to
Yeah,
you. So
fucking. I'm just a shithouse season ticket holder. I'm not even a real fan.
Not a proper fan.
Not a proper fan. Not a proper fan.
what did Gilly? I mean, I obviously was in the ground, but I was absolutely baked off my tits, so I don't really remember everything.
It's you know what I've been saying for a while, and I've said it in group and I've said it all over Twitter, is it's the hope that kills you. And I've been saying to people, look, we're down. And do you know what? If you come to terms with us being down and then we stay up, great, fantastic, bonus. But just
Makes
come
it a
to
bit
terms
easier,
with
doesn't it?
Yeah, just come to terms with it and try and process it so that we're not in that, those, is it 7 stages of grief or whatever it is and where you are on that curve. If you're in a position where you think you're just about okay with it, you stop that denial and you stop the anger and all of that sort of stuff, you kind of get to grips with it. And then Leeds come along and play for 25 minutes and make you think, ooh,
Hey up.
ooh,
Hey
here we
up.
go. And then it gets dashed again and it's all shit again. So and that's for me that's why I was pissed off towards the end of the game and beyond it, because actually we had an opportunity to go and do something and then we didn't. And it's the hope that kills you.
In half. And look, I think I read or I was talking to somebody on Twitter the other day. In fact, it might have been yesterday. It was Debington, and we've dropped 25 points from winning positions this season. That is criminal. That is absolutely criminal.
And just to put that into some sort of context, I'm just going to have a look at where that would put us in the tables. 25 points, did you say?
25 points. We've been in Europe, probably.
25 points.
So that gives us 56. We would be joint with Brentford.
Yeah.
And what a
It's
season
just a
they've
bad
had.
place to be, is it really?
I know. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in Brentford, Smart, but yeah, I know what you mean. I know where you're coming from. Yeah, it's criminal, and I was on with Joe last night, and one of the questions we were asked was around the players accepting a lot of the risk. But look, we can all point fingers at the board. They've not done it right. Yeah, we've all got to come to grips with that now. I see it now every day. People self-assessing not self-assessing, but actually critically assessing the current squad. Who we're going to keep? Who's going to go? Who would you keep? Who wouldn't you go? I'm guilty of it. We all do it. It's natural, but there's not a lot of them players. Realistically, if we went down to and we were fighting to come back up, I would want it back in the Premier League next time round.
I think when you we might end up going on a tangent again here, but
do it.
When you're a fair bit younger and you're going out on a night out, and you know that you might get into some scrapes and whatever else, and you look round at the group of lads that you're out with that night, and you're thinking, you're all right. And you're all right. I won't want any of you in any of it with me, because you know that they're not going to back you up, and you know that it goes back to that thing of it's not the size of the dog in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the dog, and we don't see any of that in these players. And I think that's the issue is when you look at like genuinely properly good players, and you look at players like, let's say, Neymar, he's up there and paid all that money for reason. Now I call him a flat track bully, but only when you compare him with the likes of Messi. He is actually a very good player.
Yeah.
We've got flat track bullies that want to play against players that are below their level, but they're playing above their level. They've the players that we've got, this level isn't right for the vast majority of them. And I think you're right. I think the other side to things is we've got absolutely no. I mean, and we all know this. We've got no control. We've got no say. It's like us picking the team before the game, isn't it? We can all say as much as we want, but my concern will come down to the fact that how much control will the board have? How much control will the management team have? of who stays and who goes. And all that comes down to what the legalities and commercial agreements are in those contracts. And so now, for our future, because we are resigned to it, it will be a miracle for anything else. For our future, we're now in a position where we're hoping on the competence of our board.
Yeah, and now who is on that board is another question. That's another question. Because reports of Rad's doing out in Italy and that. I mean, it's
Sampdoria has been linked with?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I think they're in a bit of financial crisis as well out there. So he's almost hoping to come and save the day, I suppose. But for one, that would scream to me that he needs the money from this to be able to do that from the sale. However, I feel he will probably sell enough to lose majority, but still keep a fair share just in case we get. He's clever, isn't he? He's not going to be
cash out of a big bet, innit?
You were always going to do that anyway, weren't you? You were always going to keep a certain stake in club.
Well,
even though we're going to sell the majority to 49ers, but you were always going to retain a certain percentage, because why wouldn't you?
But I mean,
well, yeah,
potentially. It depends what's in that deal, doesn't it? And none of us have seen the minutiae of the deal. I think it depends very much on what the 49ers would be willing to do, wouldn't it? Because if you think back to the Cellino time and him not wanting to buy the stadium and not wanting to upgrade the stadium until he'd acquired all of it because GFH owned part of it and therefore he'd be making them money, putting money in their pocket and that sort of thing. How much are the 49ers going to want to invest if all Rads is doing is just sitting there watching them invest and just pocketing the benefits off that? So what we'll end up doing there is almost like a split board where the 49ers, if they own 60% of the club, will front up 60%, but they'll expect the remainder to front up their element of it. Otherwise, the 49ers are investing. And let's be honest, they're in it for the money. They are an investment group. They're not in it for the benefit of the game. And it's not a bowler that's coming in as a plaything. It is to make money. They are an investment group. So they're not going to want to invest in a playing squad that needs it and a director of football that has to come in and the right coach and all of that sort of stuff if the rest of the shareholders aren't fronting up their own. So it depends very much on what the appetite is.
It could be very, very messy. It could be worse. I mean, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I've said it all along about the Americans. The Americans haven't got a great track record in the Premier League as owners, but it could be an absolute disaster, really, couldn't it? It might be great in the short term. It might be ideal. We get Rads out and everything else. That's what everybody wants. And you know, we get all this new shiny ownership that's fronted up by Padraig Marathi or whatever he's called. Almost as bad as Cal, that was it. Is that how you say it? It's not far.
I think it's Padraig in it or something.
Padraig Marath, I think, in it.
Yeah,
Marag.
Parag.
Anyway,
He's Irish cousin.
He'll be fronting it up, and he'll be the head of. He'll be the chairman, shall we say? I understand. But I brought this up, and I questioned this to Jer last night, and Jer knows a lot more about it than I do, certainly. And he seems to think that actually no, although there's all these shareholders, there will be one voice rather than it being
Parag.
Two voices because at the moment they've got the 49ers are part of this situation that we're in because they've got votes in the boardroom as it stands. Simple as that. Yeah. They've got 3 people currently from the 49ers investment group on the Leeds United board. So
yes,
you know, it's not something that's new and that's.
But you've got 2 investment groups there. You've got the 49ers investment group and you've got Acer. Now Rads heads up Acer, but you've got Menchucci and you've got Marinelli that are part of that and also on the board. So you've got conflicting voices now, and we're failing now. So it's kind of
it can't get much worse, can it? I mean, them getting relegated from the Premier League.
But equally, no, this season couldn't have been much worse than what we got now. You know, we got knocked out of the cups, and it looks like we're going down. So there's not much worse could have happened. I think. But if you look at Leicester and the way that their board has had infighting, if they go down with us, I mean, if Everton go down there really truly knackered, based on what feedback we got about them, Luke, when we were speaking to Kieran from the Price of Football, Everton are really in the shit. But let's say Leicester are the other one that go down. they've already got a split board, and that's put them in the position they're in, where you've got 40% of the board want to go off and do horse racing, 40% want to be in football, and 20% want to get out of the game altogether. And there's just infighting in the board. So they're down there because there's infighting. What we don't want to see next season is more infighting to continue, because all that means is we'll end up doing a West Brom instead of a Sheffield United or whatever.
Burnley,
and we'll just drop away.
Yeah. Hang on a minute. Who's this? Hey up. I haven't seen him all season.
Hey.
Good evening, sir.
Send him link, get him to come on. Fuck it.
Yeah, send him it out, Smarty. Send him a text. See if he wants. If you want to come on, Simon, you can come and tell us.
Matt Goodall's in comments as well. Peter Lowy is one of the richest people in Oz. Apparently, he heads up the Westfield group, but the Westfield group are part of the 49ers investment group. So he's involved in our board, but he's part of that investment group from a 49ers standpoint. He's involved with them. They are right. So the Westfield group is worth tens of billions. There's genuinely, I think Pete Lowy himself, he's the son of the guy that actually runs the entire group, I think. But on his own, I think he's worth about $4 billion.
Right. I mean, look, I'm not saying it will be a disaster. I think people who are far more informed and have looked into it and researched far greater detail than I have said, look, the 49ers are great in America. They invest in the squad. They've got, they recruit really well. They've got a good model. I mean, it's not football. It's American football. It's a different sort of thing, but all signs pointed to be relatively positive. And look, we can't really be much worse in much worse of a situation than we're currently in now. So I'm all for it. Look, we give it a go. We could fucking shoot us in the foot. It could be brilliant, But just going back to the point, initial point, I know we're going to go off on loads of tangents probably tonight, but in terms of the playing squad, then somebody mentioned earlier, I think it was Shelley, and I spoke about it last night. What are your lot's thoughts on this? The leadership group at Leeds United. Do you think that's caused? Do you think it's been difficult for new players to come in and youth to come through? Do you think that leadership group is a little bit overtight? There's obviously talk of how Bielsa left because of certain individuals going up and speaking to the board. Now, if that leadership group is that strong within Leeds United, and they've managed to get rid of arguably one of the club's best managers ever, imagine how they're strutting around, and do you think that could have a potential impact on how this season's gone? I'll go to you, Smarty, because you're relatively quiet.
Oh, fucking hell, I ain't even listening to the question. I'm trying to send Simon a pissing invite.
I'll take it,
Sorry.
it's fine.
You do it
I'll
first.
take it. It's okay. You dickhead.
I wasn't even listening. I'm like, he's going to come to me
He's pointless in
first.
bid here, isn't it, Gilly? He did watch
You watch game. Don't listen to questions. And
that's it.
The short answer is yes. I think there's certainly plenty of potential for that to be the case. I think when you instill an expectation of leadership in certain players, what you do is you give them their head to kind of state what they think and to get involved. And if you don't manage that properly, then you end up losing your voice as the manager, because you don't have to be a manager to be a leader, but really you should be a leader to be a manager. And I think so. And I also think that any manager that sets out a leadership group to say, these are the seniors, these are the people that I'm going to work through, communicate through, get my ideas across for them to push them out across. Not only does that potentially disillusion people that are not part of the leadership group that think maybe they should be, but also if an incoming manager thinks, actually, I don't want to do it that way, you erode some responsibility of that leadership group. And then you end up with splinters in talking of, well, he said that I were part of this leadership group and Ayling's still vice captain and he's wearing armband and I've not been able to wear armband, and you end up with potential of infighting.
And we've seen hints of it throughout the season. Do you remember when, was it Paddy threw his toys out the pram because he hadn't played, or there was a rumour that he had thrown his toys out the pram at some stage relatively recently, because he hadn't played, or he was going to get taken off or something along them lines. What are you doing, Smarty?
It's all right. Just ignore me.
Jesus Christ.
What do you mean recording like Carl did?
Yeah, just little things like that, I think. And then And then obviously there's the rumor of Ayling saying "fuck 'em," and I don't think he did say that, but there's all these sort of things that build up I suppose a case as to why this leadership group should never have been put together. First of all, but almost you need a leader, one leader, and then a vice captain. If you have one voice in that, because it just looks tragic at the minute. And one thing that was pointed out to me last night, and actually I hadn't noticed it until he mentioned it, was how much time this leadership group have spent going over to and speaking to the managers and vice managers when there's a break in play and stuff, just going straight over to the bench and chatting to the manager. Do you know, it was unthinkable, unheard of, in fact. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Smarty?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Right, I'm back now. I've done him. Simon's coming on, so I've just sorted him out.
Right.
Sorry about that. I've done my admin for now. What's the question?
What's the message? What is the message? No, I mean, do you think the players have got too much power within the football club at the moment? I suppose is the short question.
If they have, then they shouldn't do, in my opinion.
No, that's not the question though. Do you think they have?
Yep. Well, I was going to lead on to that. We hear about this leadership group, don't we? And it's about how much influence they have over people or other players and stuff. So we don't know, and I don't think we'll ever know because we don't know how influential that leadership group is. But I suppose there's an element of it. We've heard rumours of some players falling out with each other and the senior players of the squad. Not necessarily seeing eye to eye with the younger lads, but. I don't know. It's just a big barrel of shit in it. I mean, there's so much wrong with the whole thing. Like literally from top to bottom. We've heard so many rumours about the board. About the disparity of the board, the falling outs from the players, the management. I mean, we've had 4 frigging managers this season. I mean, it's just an absolute circus in it. The whole thing.
Just on that, Smarty. We've had 4 managers and the team have not performed under 4 managers. 4 different managers this season. They've not performed. That shouts to me that there's something wrong.
There's something wrong.
You usually get a reaction. You usually get a reaction from a new manager. We've had 4. In fact, we have probably had everything in between. We've had Allardyce one side, and then we've had probably Jesse Marsh the other side, man motivator, and then you've had Allardyce who no shit. Do you know what I mean? And then we've had a bit of, in fact, Gratcher, I would say, is the opposite to Allardyce, and then you've had Marsh and Scoobs in the middle as well, and nobody has got the reaction that we've needed from those players. There is something more up than just the players not listening to managers. There's something up. The players just simply aren't either putting it in for each other or not good.
There's no direction.
Good example.
Go on,
Somerville and Ayling at the weekend both missed a ball or went for a ball and left it, let it go out. Do you remember that down the right wing? And Ayling proper screamed at Somerville. Proper gave him it. And it wasn't Somerville's fault. It was both of their fault. They both left it.
Yeah, they both left it for each other, didn't they? And that happens. But surely the more senior player should be taking responsibility for that.
Absolutely. Saying, don't worry about it. Chill out. It'll...
Yeah,
against
and build up the junior.
With the young lads. Yeah.
Yeah, build up the more junior member
What's
of
our
playing.
vice captain? He was the captain on the field at the weekend.
And he had the armband on and he's tearing strips off a kid when they both were culpable for it running out of play.
Maybe the senior players are just using the young lads as the whipping boys, really.
Maybe the senior player understands how poor as a playing squad they've all been this season and he's feeling the pressure. But that's still not an excuse for behaving that way. I don't think it is. I would appalled. I love Bill. I think he's been a great servant to the club. And I think that, similar as can be levelled at some, I don't think the effort has been lacking from him. I think the output and the performance level has been lacking, but I don't think the effort has. So fair play. I still think that he's putting in as much as he can on a match day. But there's also ways to behave, and I don't think that behaving that way towards a more junior member of staff, especially when you're wearing armband, that's not right.
What do you make of his comments after the game, Smarty, about not being fit enough and running out of gas?
Well, we've kind of seen that, though, haven't we, over the last, I dare say, the whole season. I mean, Jesse Marsh nailed it on the head when they said that the guys had been overtrained and this, that, and the other, whatever else he came out with. And I just thought, well, that's fair enough, but you've got to find some sort of balance. One, I understand that there's an element of the players breaking down because of the levels of fitness that they had to maintain. However, there's also the extreme other side of the coin where they're absolutely fat bastards and they can't move and they run out of steam after fucking half an hour of football. So,
shall we get a professional opinion?
Let's get a proper opinion rather than those bollocks.
Simon Johnson, the elusive. How are you, mate?
Hi up, lads. You all right?
All right. Been a while.
It's nice to see you.
It is.
He's
It
looking
is.
very well.
I watch the episodes. I'm just in the. But do you know what? This is the first time I've been able to sign into YouTube. I've had to create a new account and all that, I think. Yeah.
He's got lots of different accounts as Simon. He's one to watch, that lad. I think there's so much. Sorry, I'll just say a bit quickly. I just think there's too much disparity from top to bottom. The board may have conflicts of interest, being obviously pretty much 50%. There's no direction, there's no management, and there hasn't really been any sort of one direction from. And I don't mean the boy band, obviously, before anyone starts in the comments. There's not been a direction since the start of the season. And then you've got all these infighting with and the unfitness of the players. There's that much wrong. There is that much wrong with this squad and the whole club this year that it's just people laugh and people say just tear it all down and start again. It literally needs that. Set it all on fire and bloody get it built back up from fucking ground up because it's just an absolute shambles. There's
tell you what,
that
lad who put the bomb scare in had a bit of a point, didn't he?
He should have just left him. Yeah. Okay,
right, we've got a comment here, Simon. I want you to take this one. The managers can't play for them. The players don't want it enough for whatever reason. We've seen every other team around us, all these in a relegation scrap, gone out and fought and looked like they want to stay up. What's missing? Why do we look so lackluster compared to the rest of the competition, do you think?
I have to trace it back to I think someone referred to it as the leadership group. I think once that happens, you're just fighting a losing battle. I've seen it so many times where, and I think a lot of people use the terminology player power. But once that starts to creep into your camp, you have got absolutely no chance. And I think that combined with obviously, my mentality is always it has to be right at the top and filter its way down. For any business or industry, it has to. That's the way it has to work. So I think with everything combined, I just don't think we've had a fair shot this year. But for the players that got Bielsa out, I've just seen it so many times before. We was just fighting a losing battle, like I said.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think in terms of any leadership group within certainly not. I mean, I can't ever comment because I've never worked for a football club, but there should almost be the ownership, the leader, the manager. The manager is the leader, and then you've got his choice of leader on the pitch on that particular day, which is usually going to be Liam Cooper at the moment, or if he's not available, it's Luke Ayling. There shouldn't be a group of them, and it's almost not a leadership group to me, Simon. It's almost like a group that we've been here longest. We're the popular boys. Do you know what I mean? You've got to try and be part of our group. Was it ever like that when you were there? Do you think is it common within football? I don't know.
I wouldn't say it's common. I don't see it a lot. But when you've got players that feel that, for me, I don't even understand how people feel like they've got that power to go and bypass a manager and go straight to the board. For me, it makes no sense. But for me, it just shows that the character of those people, and ultimately, this is the result of that kind of thing. This is what happens. But I definitely think that was the catalyst to, because in his first season, I don't see too many complaints from players then. So I'm agitated. I'm a little bit pissed off, to be honest. And I don't normally get like this.
It's all right, sexy, Simon. I like it when you're angry.
He started gritting his teeth, his jaw muscles flexing,
biting his bottom lip when he's saying it.
Well, yeah, for me, it's just honestly, it's not been a good year. And that first season, we should have been then kicking on. I'm not saying we should have been challenging for Europe, but there's no way we should be fighting relegation on the back of the first season in the Premier League. You know, it just shouldn't happen like that.
No, and that goes back to the ownership and ultimately the way they've invested and where they've run the club, I suppose. But I mean, I'll hold my hands up. You know, I thought this summer I was excited. I thought we'd sign well, and then January, even when we spent the money on Rutter and McKennie coming in, I was relatively excited. Like I won't lie, I thought we'd done decent business, and I thought bringing in Rutter, who had arguably really good stuff. Honestly, didn't know much about him. Weston McKennie playing Champions League football, and then the best of the three has been fucking Warburg, who nobody had a clue who he was.
I were unbelievably excited for McKennie. I'm sure, and I know you guys were as well. I was
good
absolutely buzzing. I could not believe that we managed to bag that, and then it's just been, you know, no offense to the guy, but he's just been an absolute wet fart, hasn't he?
Yeah. So there's a comment coming here. Top six clubs work so well because the manager has the final say. Don't like it, you get benched. And I think, you know, you look at Klopp, and he's had a tough season, but has he really been in a situation where he expected to get the elbow? You look at Pep, what he says goes. The same is the absolute same is at the Scum. You know, he's in charge, and it's his say, and that's that. I think Arsenal had a ropey time pre this season, stuck by the manager, and I think, nobody knows what happens between Bielsa sacking and the end of the season if Bielsa's not sacked. We can't say that. I think now we find ourselves in this position, and you can't turn back the clock. Now you find ourselves in this position. It's so obviously the bad choice, because it was the fact that we didn't build on that ninth position that Simon just mentioned, and we didn't. You know, when we finished ninth, wasn't that the season we went out and bought Dan James
and Junior Firpo?
Yeah.
What a pair of signings they turned out to be.
Well, but even if they turn out to be good signings at that time, that squad needed at least 5 or 6 quality players to come in. So even if Bielsa's saying those 2 players are real key players, we want these players, there's still more and more that needs to happen on that. And the fact that we didn't do that, even more frustrating, the fact that then we've spent loads of money the following season, is if you'd have just spent that money for Bielsa, we'd be fine.
Yeah.
By signing maybe the left back situation is a bit cloudy, but a central midfielder. How long were we all crying out for a central midfielder and a proper backup striker to Patrick Bamford? How many seasons?
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, in fairness,
unforgivable, really.
Again, I was very much banging the drum of I think we've got enough quality in cover, and the players just simply haven't delivered. The players that I expected to stand up and be counted at difficult times of the season, in difficult games, they've not wanted it. They've just not wanted it. We said earlier, Simon, you were probably listening, that we've dropped 25 points from winning positions in a season. It's not fucking good enough.
No, that's scary.
And that puts us alongside Brentford. If we just have those points that we've lost from winning positions, that puts us top half of the table.
We're not affiliated with LUFC data in any way, but I did see an interesting tweet. Leeds Premier League record since the start of last season. Games 75, won 16, drawn 21, lost 38, scored 89, conceded 153, points won 69, goal difference minus 64. So conceded 3+ goals in a game 23 times, conceded 4+ goals in a game 13 times, conceded 5+ goals in a game 6 times. Head coaches, caretakers 5, points from winning positions lost 44. Leeds have won just 21% of our Premier League matches. Leeds have lost 51% of our Premier League matches. It goes on, but it just highlights. I mean, just wow. I wanted to throw my fucking phone in a river when I read that.
And we absolutely deserve relegation. Just on that, we deserve relegation. Now, when I say we, I mean the playing staff and the club hierarchy deserve.
Not the fans who travel the country.
The fans don't deserve. Yeah, of course they don't. No.
And it's that. There's been a lot of criticism, and you know the stupidity of saying it's impossible. I want no more heart issues. It's impossible that we'll be in a relegation fight and all that sort of bullshit. It's so egotistical and so naive that you're thinking, just what are you playing at? And it was immediately bad. We all saw that and went,
bad.
What have you done?
I remember,
that for?
Yeah, I think we all talked about it in our little WhatsApp group. We all went, what on earth I mean, as far as karma goes, and that whole bad luck, good luck thing, we don't have any at Leeds. And as soon as he said that, we were all like, "Well, that might as well be us relegated this season." Then that's that. Cheers. Thanks
Which
a lot.
was worse,
That'll
that?
go on.
Which was worse, that or the Adam Forshaw tweet?
Oh, the Forshaw tweet, I think, is probably edged it.
I think the impossible was worse. Just purely on the principle that the ego that takes. You can think, well, he's just trying to take some heat off himself with the Forshaw thing, and there might even be a little bit of him trying to build a player up and try and gain some. But the impossible relegation piece is truly just moronic. Well, so is that.
Gilly just said the word stupidness, ironically.
I didn't realise Gilly had a burner account.
Yeah, no, look, I think you're right. It's been a shit show, top to bottom. I mean, in fact, you could probably throw the last 2 seasons under that category.
Yeah.
And look, whilst the board are to blame, I think they did what they could to try and change things around. You only got to look at the January we had, and they've thrown money at January. Hindsight, it hasn't worked. The players that we've signed haven't turned up. You've got that fucking idiot on Twitter whose mate's a fucking bellend, going on about how great Weston McKennie's future and his how great his future and his career is going to be when he leaves Leeds and goes back to Juve. They've just been deducted 10 points.
Say his name.
Who's?
But don't you think just on that, even with the money that we're spending and the Ruta situation and whatever else, even if he's a player that's got a big future, you cannot expect him to come in having scored 2 goals in 15 Bundesliga games in first half of this season. You cannot expect a child to come into a relegation battle in a complete different country, under a complete different management structure, in a completely new club and league, and expect them to succeed. It's just, so to spend that 35 million when you've got, I mean, I know that he's not had a great goal return, but he's somebody that you can rely on. He played well against us at the weekend. Ings moved for next to nothing. It was less than a quarter of the Ruta fee. Now, he's played several games and he's played okay in them. He's not scoring a lot of goals, but he's somebody that can occupy defence, and he's somebody that you can look to when you need somebody senior up front to go and take some responsibility for it and whatever else. Which you just can you do that with it? What's Ruta 20, 21? It's just unrealistic to expect him to come in and have that level of impact, and to saddle him with the pressure of the amount of money that's been spent on him. When we all spoke about the way that Rodrigo might be struggling with the price tag that he'd had. I mean, he came in as Spain's number 9 at 27, 28 years old. Yeah. I mean, I called him a child. I didn't mean to denigrate him in that, but it's just completely unrealistic.
With hindsight, did we ever expect him to kind of fulfill that sort of role though, where he'd nudge Bamford out of the way?
I did.
I mean,
I'll not fucking lie.
I know, but I'm saying with hindsight, it probably were never going to happen, because we all know how much Orta loved a little project and a little, he's for the future sort of thing.
But the record
bolstering our squad
now,
we need players now. That's what I'm saying though. But that was kind of the way. He's just fucking off his tits, wasn't he? He never used to think of the now. We were always down the line, and it was like
trying to be too clever with
now.
It.
Of course, you were.
Yeah.
How much do you think that weighed on him, Simon, his price tag as a young lad coming into a club the size of Leeds and the position we were in and the position we are in? Other than the obvious, I mean, how do you think it made him feel, and how, especially now he's not playing?
Yeah, I think first, I think Gilly hit the nail on the head with that. To be fair, I think the expectations are just so unrealistic. It's unbelievable. You have seasoned pros that come to the Premier League and can't hit the ground running. So to expect somebody, it's going to be totally alien to anything that he's ever experienced before. The Premier League is totally different. I mean, in your head, you think you can go and do it. And I say this to my academy group all the time. I thought I was ready, but when I actually got on the pitch and I was making my debut, and I felt how strong these guys were and how quick they were and how quick they thought, it's just, you're just not ready. So, for people to expect him to come in and be the saviour, so to speak, it was just never going to happen. And again, what Smarty says, we needed to get somebody that's had the experience of played a few games in the Premier League, scored a few goals. So put Bamford under a bit of pressure, and there's no way that kid should be our number 9 at this point. It's just honestly, it's mind-boggling, and for me, it's just really frustrating. Really frustrating.
Have you seen enough of him to think that he's got the potential to be worth that price tag?
I don't want to sound overly harsh because I haven't seen loads of him, but from what I have seen, his first touch looks to be way off it for the level. I don't think his speed of thought is. I just don't really see it. I just don't really see £35 million worth of player. I just don't see it.
No, I mean,
South is in the
35
comments,
million.
Simon, can you still pass a decent ball if so you're in the team? Decent against Sunderland.
I've got a question for you, Simon.
If you haven't, if none of you should look Simon up on Instagram. He puts little videos of himself training every now and again and training.
He scores a belter, doesn't he? And it goes straight on.
Some nice little videos. Like, it's good.
I don't show the 30 previous to that.
Yeah.
Where do you get your shirt from, Simon?
Say it again. Oh, this is one of the old ones.
I'm kidding. But we have actually had another question from Saudi. Gilly, where's your bucket hat from?
Now this is from it's got a. In fact, I've shaved my head, so I don't mind not having my hat on. It's from a company called Rennie. Which, is really.
Do they do stomach acid stuff?
No, it's not. It's the drummer from the Stone Roses. So that's where it came from.
Is it his brand?
I don't think it's his brand. I just think it's named after him.
Right. Okay, doc. Couple more comments to fly through quickly before we continue. Skip says that vest. I'm assuming he means mine, not Jay's. Reminds me of Looney Tunes. I don't know why. Since it says Tunes.
Framed Roger Rabbit. I've not seen that version.
I think that's a blue version, isn't it?
Not a porn parody.
Yeah. You've got to go through the black curtain to get that video.
Next comment. Rads has come off Twitter. What do we make of this then? He's taken Leeds United off his Twitter. Yeah. He's left the part of Ellen Road, the 70% of Ellen Road in his header that he owns. But he's come off. He's taken the LUFC part out of his Twitter header this evening. It's been noised.
Yeah. He's abandoned ship, hasn't he? Down tools and buggered off. What? Just briefly on the Rads thing. Gilly, you may be able to answer this because I don't actually know. And you're the one who probably speaks more sense on here. What are the legalities of owning 2 clubs? Can you part own 2 clubs at the same time, or does it have to be one or the other?
No, you can, but it's dependent on certain levels of separation between businesses. So the same business wouldn't be able to own the same in the same structure. But
and also if you're in the same competition in Europe as well, isn't it?
That's what I mean. In terms of the league structures, I mean, you wouldn't be able to have the same ones in the league structures. So if they were
so you wouldn't be able to do like 2 Champions League teams.
You can. There is some precedent set. So unless they've changed the rules, which is entirely possible.
Don't Red Bull own Salzburg and Leipzig though?
They do, but I think the different companies that own them, and there's enough separation in the company. So although they're the same brand, they are different parent companies that own them as shareholders.
That's right. Okay.
It's a lesson learned for us all.
There's a lesson learned. Right, there's been a lot of talk about the new director of football. Should we go down? And I think the biggest rumor surrounding is a Stuart Webber who's currently at Norwich. Now,
He's a Leeds fan.
Yeah, I understand that Norwich can't wait to get rid of him. But there's been a couple of comments here from Danny
about our Victor, didn't it?
So Danny Wright and there's been a couple of at each other.
So Danny said he hopes he is experience taking teams up, crucial experience 2 of Norwich coming down. And he 2 promotions at Norwich and 1 at Huddersfield, says otherwise. That was in response to a message I forgot to star about Norwich hating him. And I think it was Bully said they've spent 20 million on Sargent. So, look, we're always, whoever we sign, whether it's a manager, whether it's a player, whether it's a director of football, there's always going to be 2 arguments to every side. And you're always going to get conflict of information and conflict of, who thinks good of him, who thinks bad of him and everything. But I think the biggest thing for me is who's going to be picking this director of football, because it depends who's owning it at the time.
It does. I think to touch on the Weber piece, and I've seen some of the toing and throwing. I think, given what Middlesbrough thought of Orta and how they were laughing at us when Orta came into the board, the fact that Norwich fans have openly said that's the last thing you want, and do you know what? I'll drive him to you if you want him, and things like that on social media in itself makes me think, do we really want to go through this again? But ultimately, the only director of football you're going to get is somebody out of a job or somebody that's gettable from a job they're in. You're not going to be able to go and pick the cream, especially in a position that we're in.
Is gettable a word?
He's now.
He's the only one who speaks any sense on here. Remember him down there.
It is in the OKB dictionary.
Him down there. We say what we want. Look, I don't know enough about the world of directors of footballs to even suggest anybody who might be good for us who's available or anything like that. I actually don't give a fuck as long as they come in and buy some good players.
Yeah, the answer to the question is yes, it is a word.
Nice.
He just Googled it.
It is a word. Yeah. Jonathan Brooks in the comments saying it is
Jonathan,
a word as well.
Thanks, Carol. She does the numbers, doesn't she? It's Rachel. No, Rachel does the numbers as well. What's the
another
what's the name? The name
vowels and shit.
What's the lady off Countdown called? With the glasses.
Oh, Dictionary Corner woman.
Susie.
Susie Dent.
Susie is. Yeah, well done.
Well done, Simon.
I'm
glad you're here.
Susie Dent. Yeah, it's because he doesn't have a proper job, is he? He gets to watch some of that.
He's at home. He's watching Bruce's Big Deal or whatever it is, Dickinson's Big Deal, and shuffling loose women and that him on a morning. Didn't rock up till after lunch.
What do you make of this then? I think this is probably a good one for Simon. Do you think we've held on to some of the players who were promoted with us too long? Or do you think it was a necessity?
Probably, I think sometimes you have to be a little bit more ruthless in those situations. I get that it's difficult because obviously when a group of players get you promoted, there's that emotional attachment there, which is natural. So I understand it, but I'm gonna blame my own trumpet. Well, it's only from League 2 to League 1. When we got promoted with Hereford to League 1, that's when we played Leeds actually. The manager, Graham Turner, he got rid of quite a few players, and we was all a little bit shocked by it because we'd all played a decent role, but he just obviously thought, well, they were good enough to get us promoted, but they're not quite good enough for the next level. So yeah, we probably could have been a bit more ruthless in that situation. Yeah.
Do you think
Wrexham have done the same, haven't they?
Do you think the players that we've
Wrexham have just done the same? Wrexham have just done the same. They've made the release list is fucking massive.
Really? So, yeah.
Massive.
It is, but what they did do was they moved really quickly to keep the ones that they wanted to keep.
Yeah.
And
but still, what I'm saying is the release list is huge,
Yeah, but they've made it really clear on you're in and you're not. They've made it really clear. And the thing about that is they didn't know that they were the ones promoted until really late on in the season, and they had it already lined up. So whether that would have been the case, whether they were promoted or not, that's in the balance. We won't know. But what they did was they were really decisive. They made the decision, and then they live and die by those decisions.
That's
I think
right.
I'm definitely guilty of looking back at the Bielsa time and the players that we had, and rose tinted glasses and the rest. Definitely guilty of that, and you can't afford to do that as a director of football or when you're a board member. The one thing I would say is, I think we probably have. You look at Click and the fact that his output wasn't what we've been seeing from him in previous seasons. Now, I think I would have kept him. Now, some of that might be that sentimentality piece, but some of that might be the fact that in hindsight, we've got players that haven't had the impact that he could have had. I'd rather be seeing him coming on than Aronson, and in the situation that we were in, and I think he would offer more. But the other side to things is the recruitment's not been good enough to get rid of some of those players.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think good evening to Jer from the Leeds United View. How are we doing? Go follow Jer if you don't already. Cheers for joining us.
Podcast friends.
Can't hold on to sentiment too long. The Premier League eats you up. I mean, we can't really argue with that, can we?
Yeah.
No.
It has done, and just going back to that the players that we have held on to, they almost form that leadership group that we don't like talking about, don't they? Now, you know, the popular lads, the lads who have been here longer than the others. You know, you look at Forshaw, Bamford, Coops, Ayling. You know, this. I don't know. It just fucking does my head in a bit.
There's all sorts of stuff to speak behind that, though, isn't there? I mean, when we got promoted, the passages of play and the way that Bielsa had us playing, you didn't need to be the best team in the world. As long as you could do your job and do your job well, you know, the intricate passing, the passages of play, the directions, everything that he taught them to do, you need to stand at A, you need to stand at B. We got away with it. It wasn't until we started losing half of a squad and having to replace them with kids that we started getting found out. The whole man marking thing, that's when your quality comes into it. And once the confidence were on its arse, the team nosedived, and obviously, you know, bye Bielsa. But if he'd have been properly supported and given, you know, some better players than what he already had, get rid of the whole sentiment, like a few of you've already said, get rid of the players, you know, take it on the chin. Look, thanks for your efforts, thanks for getting us promoted, but we need better going. We need more quality going forward. I guarantee, and I will die on this hill. I guarantee, if they'd have backed Bielsa with more quality players, we would not be where we are now, or certainly not last year anyway.
No, I think you're right. But hindsight's wonderful, and you know, we were only going one way at a time.
It is, but Bielsa's prediction. I'm just going to pop up the comment from Skip. Bielsa's prediction was that these players wouldn't be able to do it beyond that period.
He said so.
Yeah. Now in year 5 with some of them.
Yeah. So Bielsa was really open about saying these players can only go again so many times. And, you know, the 3 years is where we'll be able to get the optimum from the group of players that we've got. So, yeah.
And he said either himself needs to go, didn't he? He said himself, or you need new players. And we decided to get Dan, James, and Junior Fairport.
Who we don't, we only paid 3 times what we initially offered to pay for fucking Dan James anyway.
And then sent him out.
And now he's on loan at Fulham. So just what I want to touch on quickly is we're talking about sentiment and holding on to players. How many of those sentimental players now, this is going to sound really fucking backward, now we're going back to the Championship and they've been there and done it and got promoted from the Championship. How many of those do we keep hold of, realistically? Or should we keep hold of?
Wow. That's a good question.
Now then. You got the experience.
Go on, Gilly.
You want me to? I think if we just kind of touch on the points that we just made, is what you need to do is not look at the output and the capability that those players have had, but those players have now. And I think that there's a real strong case to say that the squad's just been mismanaged for the last 15 months or whatever else. And you know, you could say even. I'm not saying a bad word about him, but towards the end, with the amount of injuries that we had, reflecting on the training methods, is that how Marsh was able to get away with saying, you know, the training's all wrong because of the amount of injuries that those players were getting. Bielsa had predicted that those players wouldn't be able to keep up that level of optimal output. So you can see some of that. How many of those players will be able to go again, and not just go again in a 44 or 46 game season just in the league, and then you've got your cups and you've got how many of them will be able to go again? I think if you look at the playing squad, Bamford is made a biscuit. I think in terms of the effort that he puts in, his effort level might be able to get him there, but can his body keep up? I don't think he would be somebody that I'd be looking to start many games in the Premier League if we'd have survived. But in the Championship, his capability level should be okay there. But his physiology just won't carry him there. Rodrigo's going to be 33. And again, there's been question marks. You know, he spent a couple of periods during this season out injured. Is he going to be able to physically cope with the physical demands, not the running, not the pressing, not the pressure, but the physicality of the defenders he's going to be playing against, that know that they can't cope with him if he gets the ball into his feet, and you know, he's just going to be getting elbows and kick left and right. So you look at those players like that and you think, have they got the physiology and the mentality to go again for a big, long championship season, and I think for a lot of them,
46
the
game
answer's no.
season. They struggled.
Yeah.
They struggled with 37.
Yeah.
Hey,
I know
better
the
bang for your buck,
intensity is a lot.
lads.
Yeah.
Those that got
Hey,
tickets. Hey, not that bad.
Cheers,
What are you
mate.
spending your 10% on?
you won't be seeing that.
No.
You'll be seeing
Yeah,
that
no,
off your
look-
2025 season ticket. That's what you'll be
on a
seeing that on.
voucher.
Yeah, and only if you buy a 10-year one or something stupid for like 25 grand. Yeah, no, look, I agree. I think if ever there is a time to revamp, it's this. This is the time. You know, we've got an aging
God.
squad. We've got some what?
I've just seen coleslaw on toast comment, and it's fucking
That
made me
one.
want to end
Sent
my
a chill
life,
down my
if I'm
back.
honest.
Is Costa coming back?
He's
He's
still
got a
on
year
the
left on his
contract, isn't he?
contract.
I
Yeah.
thought it was. I thought Alati had
Fucking
signed him or whatever they
Jesus.
were called.
Dan James.
He's still
Dan
loaded,
James, I
isn't he?
think, will perform in that league. You
In
know?
fact,
Dan
just
James
been
will
asked this
probably rip
question.
it up because all he is
Yeah.
a speed merchant, and that scares defenders at
Yeah, yeah.
championship level.
Yeah, I think. But Costa and Roberts, Christ, biscuit knee Roberts. I guarantee he'll be injured as soon as he gets back into frigging training. That's an absolute given, isn't it?
How was he?
Him
He's
and
already
Forshaw.
injured again, isn't he? He came back
Biscuit
from
boys.
QPR, didn't he? Injured, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
No, that's what we are now. Fox's Biscuits is down. We are a team of fucking biscuits, aren't we? Different sizes and shapes and brands. Just a box of biscuits. Just get rid of them all. Take them to Rainbow Bridge.
Send him to
you
Doggy
go.
Heaven. No, look, I mean, for me, as I said a minute ago, I don't think there's going to be a better opportunity with a takeover with Rad selling to start fucking some of these players off and tell them, look, there's no future here for you, unfortunately, and then they'll probably go win the Champions League with somebody else. But it's how I look at it. You know, we'll get rid of Mark Rocker and he'll go like as backup at Real Madrid and get 4 performances. And
Llorente might get a Europa medal.
I know. Loretta, our worst centre back, might end up with a Europa League
we
medal.
still had Cock.
Yeah, he's still got Cock and Cooper.
Hey,
Fucking
up,
who's
some of his
got-
dogs
who's
out.
Dogs are scrappy.
Look at Simon.
Lads, am I okay to?
Yeah, you're all right, mate.
The wife's tea ready.
Put your hand up and ask nicely. You don't
Make sure you turn your camera off. We don't want to see wife walking past in a dressing gown or all like that.
He's funny. I'll just mute you for a sec, Si. Am I all right to go? Look at him, panicking.
I'm surprised he didn't put his hand up.
Oh, he's gone. He's gone.
He's gone. He's that hard word from Mrs.
Stop talking about football. It's a Tuesday.
He's ready.
Simon, kids need bathing. You're fucking doing me head in. You've done fuck all night.
Wow,
Come and walk, you bloody dog.
Bless him. It's been so long since he's been on.
I know, but it's good to see him. Looking really well as well,
is.
isn't he? He's a married man.
Yeah, isn't he? Yeah.
Because I think he's been married since he last been on, hasn't he?
Took the plunge, didn't he?
He got married. Has he
Poor
been on
guy.
since he got married?
It's
No, he's been
Smarty
on
that's
for
been
a while,
stalking him.
Me and Simon are good mates.
Me and Simon, like Magnet and Steel.
Yeah. He uses more filters than me, though.
I don't know.
Fucking Captain Filter. I've got him saved
A lot
on
of
his
filter
phone.
in that.
Blue Steel.
Magnum.
Yeah, so go back to the football. I mean, realistically, we've got to compare ourselves to recently relegated sides and look at who they've kept hold of and what assets they've sold and everything else. Is it unrealistic to suggest that we might keep hold of the majority of our talent?
So,
I think they're. Oh, go on, mate. You go first.
well, I was trying to think of the players.
Or the
that-
players we wanted to keep. Sorry,
Burnley
I'll
lost.
rephrase that, Gilly.
Yeah,
the players
no,
would
yeah.
like to keep.
But I was thinking of the players that Burnley lost, and you think of their defence and the keeper and so on. They lost a lot of their playing staff. I think it is pretty remarkable what's been done there. Because they lost quite, and I know some of them were out of contract. I think Tarkowski was out of contract altogether, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I know that some of them were out of contract. But what they've done, having lost that number of players, now it remains to be seen as to whether they can carry that on into a Premier League season. And actually, if there's a change in their coaching, then you'd worry for them if you were a Burnley fan. But yeah, they lost quite a few of their players and still managed to turn it into a positive. I mean, really positive. And they were playing, they were getting lots of plaudits, and rightly so. They were playing good football.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, on the flip side of that, you've got to look at Villa, kept hold of Grealish. pretty much single-handedly took them back up. You've got Wendia, went to Norwich and brought them back up on his own. I think he got 36 goals and assists in the season.
Was that sought after though when they went down with?
I think he was, yeah.
Were he?
Yeah, I think he was.
Really? He was only really young, wasn't he?
He was, but he was their main man.
Either.
And but not only were he their main man, you know, it was before Dean Smith got hold of him, so he was highly thought of anyway. I mean, it was a really, really bad hairstyle that he had. But no, I think he was, and I think given his age and the fact that he was their main man, and he was quite clearly their main man, I think he was sought after. But you know, we managed to keep hold of Calvin when Villa were in for him when we were in the Championship. So it's not that we don't have any precedent for it. I think it's a case of some of those players that we've had this season that have underperformed see themselves as Champions League players in other leagues. I
think one of the bonuses we've got though, Gilly, is we'll be financially sound regardless of relegation, because we are. Although we're run by idiots, we're financially.
It's not like 2004, is it?
No, it'll not be that bad. And we almost might be in a position to cherry pick some of the good players from now. I'm a little bit cautious of this, but we might be in a position to cherry pick some of the players that might not get promoted. However, I don't want to cherry pick players that aren't going to be good enough should we get promoted. We don't want to be picking players for one season or, and then fight stay up. So we need to cherry pick players and pick players that can do a job at a lower end of a Premiership as well as a top end of a Championship side, So look, I think we will. I think we'll get a season out of the majority of them, I think we'll be pleasantly surprised. I think we'll lose a few. But I think Sinistera, somebody like that, he'll go. I think. In fact, let me throw some names out.
But look at his injury record.
Yeah.
So I don't think he could cope with the season in the Championship. I really rate him. We've been talking about who we wanted to see where, and throughout this season, I've been really keen to see Cine played in at 10 because I think he could really do damage to some of our opponents. But he's just not had a long enough run of fitness.
He's got knees like me.
They probably don't creak as badly as yours.
Right, let me throw some names out at you. I think might have the potential, or probably could be able to go to another Premier League. And tell me if you think there's any possibility we might stay hold of him. Tyler Adams.
No.
Just a yes or no.
No.
Max Wober.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sinistera.
No.
Somerville.
No.
Yeah.
Nonto.
No.
You're not filling me with confidence here, lads.
Sorry, mate.
I think that's probably about the limit of the players that we.
Harrison will stay. Harrison will go.
I'd want to keep him, but I don't think he'll stay.
I mean, I'd love to keep them all. The ones that we've mentioned.
I wouldn't.
The
ones I mentioned, yeah.
No, the ones we've mentioned, yeah, absolutely. But those are the thing is, we've got the ego side of things as well. I'm not going to Championship, and let's be honest. They've all got contracts. They've all got them sort of clauses in the contracts that allows them to be released. Should they want to? Should we get relegated and that? So really, unless we can go in cap in hand and beg them to stay. I mean, what? I mean, Aronson. I've seen a lot of talk about Aronson and how he'll be able to perform, a little bit better in the lower leagues because there's a lot more time on the ball and stuff. And this guy can find a dead end in the desert. I'm still not convinced.
He gets bullied in the Premier League. How's that going to go with the physicality of the Championship?
I know.
I don't think it's the biggest. Well, you look at. I mean, we've used two examples there: Buendia and Grealish. They're both bullied in the Premier. They're kicked to bits in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But no,
yeah, they're kicked to bits. But I wouldn't say that they're people that get bullied. I think they deal with getting kicked pretty well.
Yeah, fair. I mean, it'll go one way or the other.
Aronson does. That's my point.
I think Matt Goodall's in comments and saying Aronson will get mauled. I don't think he'll get mauled. I think he'll be knocked down a peg or two, perhaps. But I think he will perform well.
I think he will do well.
I genuinely think he will perform well. He'll get battered around a bit, absolutely, but he'll perform well. It won't be like we've seen him in Premier League. He'll do well.
He'll have an extra second or two on the ball, which is what he needs at the minute. He's not good enough for the Premier League. He doesn't get enough time on the ball. And I think I'm with you, Smarty. I think we probably see the better end of Aronson. We've seen a couple of good games where he's played. I think Chelsea at home, he was outstanding. I think that's the best he's played for us when we beat him 3-0. I just think I think that will do him the world of good. If he comes down with us, he might not. He might be on.
He will.
I mean,
I can't see based. I mean, you look at the based on performances and what potential clubs are going to be out there, eyeing us up because we're basically a shop window at the minute. Not like Dale's supermarket sweep or anything that extremity, but something along them lines. We'll be getting cherry picked here, there, and everywhere. It happens to every team that gets relegated. Obviously, you'd be naive to think otherwise. But I think someone like Aronson and a couple of players will, potentially. I don't think they've got that much of a sell-on value or are that attractive as a prospect for other teams. So I think that, there's to a degree there might be some that we keep just because I don't think anyone wants them.
Yeah, fair.
As harsh as that
there's
is.
There's also the outstanding balance that's on a player because if you've bought, I can't remember how much it was, but if you spent £24 million on Aronson and you've paid £6 million of that off, is anybody really going to give you £18 million to just settle the balance for that player? Now, all right, you get the wage off the books as well, but to make money on a player that you still owe £18 million on, you need to sell them for more than £18 million. Now, those are figures I've just plucked out of the air, but there's an outstanding balance against most, if not all, of the players that will get sought after. Now, some of them will be easily wiped, like Willie Nonto. There'll be clubs knocking down our door to pay more than we pay for him. Absolutely. No problem at all. But nobody's going to pay 20 million plus for Aronson.
No, absolutely not. And that's the other question. Do we decide to take a loss on a player, or do we look? They're contracted at the end of the day. These players can put in a transfer request. We don't have to accept that.
Well, it does depend on what the state, what
there's a clause in the
agreement.
Oh yeah, well. Obviously, and we'll never know the inside and outside of the clauses, but until they're up in the shop window and we say Tyler Adams was brought in for this amount of money, but if we went down, we sell him for less than half or something stupid, fucking hell. But
I think one player that I am confident of keeping and would be quite happy at keeping at the minute is Robles as a keeper. I think him in the Championship. I think he'll do quite well.
Yeah, I've still got a comment up there. Meslier, do we sell or keep him? Do you think
he'll be going? I think he's part of the ones that have expressed their desire to leave the club. Should we be relegated?
Have they though?
I don't know how much store you can.
We're
set by
definitely
that.
going to know, but apparently it's been muted about all week, hasn't it? I mean, even Philly has been reporting saying that Meslier
it's been muted.
Is probably likely. Yeah, it's been muted around. Yeah,
muted. It's muted. Yeah, muted is a word, but it's not what you mean.
Yeah. If it was muted about it, it means nobody would be talking about
set of twats. Just get on with it.
It's quite the opposite, actually. Look, it's an interesting time, and I mean, I'm always excited about Leeds United, aren't I? But I am actually once we know and once what's going to happen, we can almost set and prepare ourselves mentally for another season, can't we? Do you know what I mean? It's almost. I'd be excited if we went down just to look at the transfer window, just see what new players we'll be bringing in or what players we can keep hold of and all that sort of thing again.
When that final whistle blows on fucking Sunday, I'm washed of football. Absolutely don't want to watch it, don't want to listen to it. I'll speak to you guys, but I am done for a while because I cannot wait for this season to be over and done with.
No, this season I can't wait.
Yeah, but
this is almost
I
what
want to think. The concept of next season in the Championship, I want to fucking have a bath of fucking petrol in a toaster.
Save this for the end, Smarty.
It's not a rant. It's just
nailed it.
How I am.
Skip's nailed it. How you sum up how we all feel about it. Skip's nailed it. Bring on Keith Andrews and Don Goldman.
Oh no!
Jesus Christ! I didn't even think
I forgot about them bastards.
Sideshow knob
on a Tuesday night.
Oh Jesus!
Even worse refs than we've had this season.
No VAR though.
Yeah, but no VAR. Silver linings. Silver linings.
Yeah, but you know that's not going to go in our favour. Just because VAR hasn't, doesn't mean that next season it's gone.
I wonder if we can go another 50+ games.
Hire away attendance tickets, as Matt Goodall's reminded us there. We get as many tickets, loads of tickets. So we have to get
but you won't do though. You won't do though, because there'll be still loads of people wanting to go and watch.
Well, not go and watch. There'll be people that will hedge their bets on us getting promoted next season and will buy away tickets and not go.
Yeah,
There's some
I've mentioned
positivity
this.
for you.
Plymouth away on a Tuesday night, buzzing.
Jesus Christ.
And it will be, won't it?
Argyle. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
look, it's
And Millwall.
it's good that we can be relatively cheery about the situation in it. You know, if you don't laugh, you'd cry, sort of thing in it. But I suppose we better talk a little bit about the Spurs game, even though we don't really want to. Have we done any predictions even yet? Are we still on the intro here? What's going on?
Yeah, we're still
Yeah,
on the
we're
intro.
still with an hour and 10 minutes in, and we've just covered first bullet point that we normally cover. It's what happens when us today are on here.
It's like Carlos did when he asked one question. We're an hour and 10 minutes in.
No.
Well, fuck the predictions off. We'll do the predictions after the next game, but we'll take some predictions. But we'll. Do you want to do them, Gilly?
No, you're fine.
Yeah,
All
All I
you
know
do
is
know
that
you're fine.
Gilly's got enough points to be top of the league. That's all I know.
Oh yeah, he has. hasn't he?
Unlucky little fucking shithouse, Jay.
He's going to be
If you're still
devastated, isn't he? I'm
Yeah,
going to have
innit?
to go back and just see how many. It's like Arsenal's capitulation, isn't it? Top at season, top at league for 85% at season.
This
Fucking-
right.
I mean-
Here's a
I
good
mean-
question. Here's a good question, and I don't know how you'll both feel about this. I have a certain feeling, and I'll see what you two say. Answer that, Smarty.
Do we clap off the fans after the
Fans?
Spurs game?
I think he means
Does
players.
he mean do the fans clap
Yeah.
off the players?
Do the fans clap at the end of the game?
Do you know what?
Do they clap the players off?
I'm kind of hoping that we do lose on Sunday because I know we're not gonna. I absolutely 100% believe that Leicester will beat West Ham because they've got the final of their European whatever the fuck it is, bloody Mickey
Everton
Mouse
are beating
chuffing
Bournemouth.
pie and peas cup.
Everton are beating
Everton,
Bournemouth.
Everton will
100%
beat
they'll-
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth are not.
Everton
on the
haven't
turn
beaten.
up.
Bournemouth have beaten Everton for the last 4 weeks. Whoa,
but
Jesus
that's-
Christ!
But
That-
now it's
that's not
important,
been-
and now it.
in Goodison
Yeah.
on
So-
the last day of the season to end their time in the Premier League. I
Hey,
do not.
I'm
see
still
Bournemouth
clinging
turning
on.
up.
Well, there's a will, there's a way for
I
me.
don't want to
I
talk
don't
about
care.
your Klingons, mate.
I've
Look.
already made my peace with going down, but there is still a minute percentage in me. There's
Do you know what would
percentage in me.
really leads is for both Leicester and Everton to win and us to beat Spurs, which will kind of take the edge off a little bit of me wanting to fucking fire into them, bastards.
So anyway,
Call
back
them
to the
all
original
bastards
question:
when they
do we
come
clap them?
Come past? No, absolutely fucking not. No fucking chance. Why the fuck would I stand at the side of the pitch clapping a set of wankers who've just got me fucking club relegated?
So one of the when all of this was flying around before, one of the arguments I saw was I'm not really clapping the players. I'm joining in with my fellow fans that I see week in, week out.
I've done that before, of course. When we're getting bummed at home, I think I said something similar on Twitter. I join in with the crowd, absolutely. I'll sing for the team, but when the final whistle has gone and all them wankers are walking around giving the shirts to kids and doing a little side down by itself, can't even be asked to fucking bring their hands up, clapping. I can't wait. It's going to be carnage. In fact, I might take some filmage.
The resident happy clapper. I bet you can't guess what I'm going to do.
You're going to get fucking stuck into them.
No, I'm not. I'm going to clap. No, look.
I'm going to
Save
throw
it for
you
your
out.
bitter.
Do you know why? Do you know what? And I'll tell you for why. Look, the
You're
players
gonna
haven't
clap
performed
them.
all season. Look, I'm not clapping the players. I'm clapping everybody around me. I'm clapping the club. And it's ups. Look, we sing about ups and downs 20 times a week. And if you cannot take it when we're shit, why should you enjoy the good times?
No, that's
I'm
fair.
a
That's a
firm
fair
believer.
comment.
I'm a firm believer in fair weather support and that. Look, we've had two.
I will
shit
clap my
seasons.
fans. Our fans.
Smarty, Smarty.
Hang on, is
Exhausted.
this Leeds fans or is this better fans that you're clapping?
Luckily, I've only ever met a couple of better fans. I don't do well with.
Well,
that sort of
you
public
heard
thing
my
like that.
story about.
I support the club. Let me just
Are you
answer
on that
Bully here.
podcast? I'm like, oh, no,
Let me just
not
answer
me.
Bully here. I support the club, not the players. For the players don't give a fuck about us. I support the club.
Yeah,
Simple
no,
as that.
and that's fair. But at the end of the day, when they're doing the little lap of honour, they
They won't
are
do that.
receiving plaudits and clappage from the fans. Now,
So you've
they
just
don't
talked about
deserve
wanting
it.
to retain some of the players. Are they going to want to stick around if they all get roundly booed? Even the ones you want to keep?
They're getting
point.
paid, aren't they?
I'm playing devil's advocate. I've not said what I'm going to do
it's
yet.
A fair
I
point,
don't know what I'm going to do yet. If we get pumped, if we break the Premier League record and get pumped 10-0 with Harry Kane getting 8, dribbling up ball and it's sliding into whatever else happens, then everybody's going to be pissed off anyway. But if we get a hard-fought draw or we pox a win against them or whatever else, and you can see the effort that's been put there's going to be a lot of people chanting. And I don't know how I'm going to feel about that at that point. I won't know until we get there.
It's too little, too late. It's like, that's
great.
No,
it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Well done for beating Spurs, but why didn't you fucking beat any bastards that are around us at bottom of the table? Why didn't you beat Leicester?
But we've
why
already
didn't you beat
lost
Palace?
at
Why
that
didn't you
point.
beat fucking Bournemouth? I know, but not at that point. Why not show that fucking fight when we really needed it, when we were fucking fighting for his status as a Premier League club?
And
not against Harry Kane and
you.
his fucking silly mates.
But nobody's arguing with you. What I'm saying is, I've got no idea how I'm going to feel about that at the time.
No, I'm kind of with you a little bit there. I don't know how I feel. I would, like I say, if they did beat them, then it would take the edge off. But I can pretty much guarantee it'll be a bit of a hostile environment, regardless.
I don't think
everyone's made the peace with it. If we get relegated, mate, fucking come on, man.
Oh no, it will. It'll be.
Are you fucking joking? We've just been relegated to Championship. You think it's we're all going to we're all
after West Ham, I expected the same, but it wasn't. Everyone's already. I was chatting to people. Everyone's already made the peace.
Oh no.
I would say away fans is worse.
We've all accepted the fact that we're probably 99% sure we're going to be relegated. But you're expecting, or you think that the fans in the fucking stadium are going to be clapping and really happy and like, oh, well, at least we give it a right good go.
Hang on a minute. I didn't ever say they were going to be happy. Steady on.
No, you didn't say they were going to be happy. That might have been a bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment, but you know what I mean? They're not going to be stood round throwing fucking bunting around and getting all.
No, absolutely not. But what I think the argument I'm trying to make is, are we going to be there next year?
Well, I will be.
Is what you're saying? It's going to fizzle out rather than be toxic?
Yes.
I think it'll still be quite toxic.
I just want to try and
sack-a-board chants and.
I just want to pick something up here and just address what you said, Luke, because I think I know what you were getting at. Because Bully said the club don't give a fuck, mate, and but when we're talking about the club, it's the entity that is Leeds United. It's not the board. It's not the management structure. It's not them that have the privilege of being in charge of our club.
I was there before all of them.
Yeah.
I was there before. I was supported Leeds since before all the board, all the players have been there, and I'll support them long after. Do you know, that's my reason for clapping, and that's my reason for supporting the club. I don't support Rads. I don't support anybody particularly on the board. I don't support any of the management team or the coaches or the players. The players will all move on in our lifetimes. I don't give a fuck about that. The reason I'm going to clap is because I'll be there next season clapping them when they're good as well, when they're winning games.
Yeah,
you hope.
Yeah,
I will.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
we are winning games.
Mid-season next term, we're absolutely dick to a bottom at Championship. You see Luke fucking jawing fucking Rocker because he's not been signed by now.
I'll not lie. Look, I'm not even angry anymore.
Rocker will be dynamite in the Championship, by the way.
I'm not angry.
Going down at Championship.
I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. Like I'm past all that. You know, I'm past being upset and really upset and all that. Like I've made my peace with it, as we keep saying, but. How can you sit here or stand there? I mean, I understand people who will be booing won't be directed towards the club they love. I understand that.
I've always said I'll never boo my team.
Right. No, all right. Sorry, I've exaggerated slightly. The people who don't clap and the people who leave early and the people who try and make it, I understand their reason for doing it, and it's directed at individuals or a particular group of individuals. That's not directed at the club they love. The Leeds United will never leave them. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's where I'm getting at. And I completely understand and I appreciate whatever anybody wants to do. And I'm not going to try and encourage anybody to do one or the other. I don't suppose it's entirely up to you how you deal with it.
Yeah, people will do what they feel, what they feel's right in the moment, won't they? You know,
There'll be a lot of
emotionally. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I could vent anything, it'd be towards the board. Unfortunately, that shithouse won't be there. Victor Orta. He's escaped. His mates saved him. Really.
I don't think Rads shows up.
Rads that's what he'll be there. I don't think. Yeah, that's
no.
We're talking about Orta.
Orta won't be there. He's been sacked.
No, that's what I'm saying. Rads has saved. Rads has saved that.
Sorry.
You know, I would have loved to. You know,
but I also don't think Rads is going to turn up at the end of the season.
Rads won't be there.
Yeah.
But I think if we manage to keep hold of him, I think Rocker would play very, particularly very well in the Championship, I think he'd be a good player for us.
Yeah.
I said as much earlier. I put a tweet out saying Rocker would look good in a better team, either in a better side or in a slower league or a league below that we're in, because he'll have that.
Basically, Rocker will look good with worse opposition.
Yeah,
No, with more time on ball.
more time on the ball.
Worse opposition.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could put somebody like Rocker in a City team, and he'd look all right, I think.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But even in Spain, because he were in sides that were playing well. When he went to Bayern, he didn't get much time, did he? But when he's played in sides that have dominated possession and looked good. Well, we set ourselves up not to have the ball, so it didn't look good.
No, expected to defend for 70 minutes a game when he's a ball playing midfielder. He's a playmaker, deep line playmaker, whatever you want to call it. He's not a player, and ultimately he's been asked to defend for 70-75%. There's lots of arguments for players who might improve and be better, and might we've only got to look at the youth we've got coming through that we can be excited about, because that will be their level next season. Your Sonny Perkins, your Mateo Josephs, your who else we got? Bate coming back, Drama, Rutter. And this would be a real opportunity to understand how good these players can be, because if they're as good as we think they are, or the club thinks they are, Shelder, then the Championship would be a good starting point as other than 21s or where they've been on loan. And Shelder, I don't know how he's done at Rotherham. Actually, I think he's done all right though.
He's done all right.
Drama done all right, apart from
use
miss that open goal.
sporadically though, don't you? I mean, you don't just want to field a team of youth, because we know what that's going to happen.
No, but what I'm saying is,
I know what you're saying. Yeah. But yeah, I think, like you say, some odd appearances, Drama, I think will do really well.
Well, I think that's his level.
I think
he's a good
that's
Championship
where
player.
he wants to be. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Drama slots straight in there for me.
I don't think he's a. Yeah, but I wouldn't have kept him on if we'd have done the right thing and been a Premiership side next season. I wouldn't have been looking to keep him.
No. I don't think he'd have wanted to stay anyway, would he?
But Luton want him, and they look like they're going to be in.
He's available for a pretty.
Isn't it mad that Luton or Coventry will be playing Premier League football next season, but we won't?
And one of them might well bully us for one of our players.
Yeah.
That's how big a deal it is being in the league.
Seen what Bullies said. Bullies commented saying, Gilly and Smarty could both die and Luke would find the positives.
Oh, I'd certainly find some positives, don't you worry. Right, shall we get into a little bit about Spurs? What do we expect? We've got to go for it? We've got to go for it, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got to go for it, yeah.
I mean, on the off chance that a miracle happens, we have to be in right position, don't we?
Yeah. And I think that's enough on the Spurs game.
Yes.
So, shall we take some predictions for that Spurs game?
Well, we can't. We need Jay first.
Fuck Jay.
Yeah, but Jay's
No,
not.
you're
first.
top
Jay's
now.
Not top of
You're
league.
top.
You're top of league.
Auto no better predictions.
Give it away.
Sorry, go on, Gilly.
Fucking hell, they've started. We're absolutely dog shit. We're getting relegated, but I've already seen comments like this. I mean, bless Carl.
Go on, Carl.
Oh. Head over heart, heart over head.
Just be honest. Don't turn into Jay now that you are.
No. We're not. I can't see us getting a win. I'm hoping that we get a draw and we put in half decent performance. I think that's as good as we can hope for.
Who's highest out of me and Smarty?
You by a mile.
Me.
Oh, you by a fucking long shot.
I know. I just wanted to hear it.
Smarty's second bottom, just above Lou on minus 19 points.
I'm going to go for... Listen to this. I'm going to go for 4-1 win and we stay up. Oh!
You also went for a Paddy hat-trick last week.
Did I?
I mean, who would have fucking
you went for one
that?
Paddy goal, but that was just as crazy.
I wonder, they won't even give you odds on that. They just laugh at you.
They'd be too long for him to offer the odds.
Yeah.
So you've gone genuinely, you've gone 4-1.
4-1 leads. It's a fucking game I don't care about anymore. The season's over.
I know. But 4-1 Spurs. I'll just counter.
Trying to get himself off that bottom, innit? Right towards the end.
There's no hope. I don't know what I actually am in the stand. I know I'm second, but I don't think I'm that many points off the people that are in just above me.
You're 1 point behind Si, who's on -3.
Yeah. What did I get? Am I -4? Since when? I was on -1 a week before last. Not that it matters.
You got -3 for Newcastle.
Sound. Well, there you go.
You went 3-1 Newcastle, -3 because we got a draw.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, bastard.
That's true. Yeah. I'll give Jay's for him.
Don't you be questioning my spreadsheet.
No, I would never dream. Jay will go 4-1 Leeds.
Spurs beat Leeds. Richo, fucking hell, mate. You've been in here every week saying you're going down. Now you're coming in and giving it big un.
Fucking hell. See, I told you.
I think they do. I think Everton stay up.
Everton. No, do you know what?
Who would you rather go down?
Everton.
With
Fuck
us.
Everton.
Yeah,
and the reason that I'm saying Everton is because although both Leicester and Everton would be screwed if they went down, I think Everton's capitulation would be so catastrophic that there wouldn't be a threat.
No, it's not that. It's they just, for me, they just survived it last year, so they damn right deserve to go down with us this year.
Like us.
We survived it. They survived it. You can come down with us. We'll grab hold of them, pull them down. I don't know the whole Everton versus Bournemouth game. My money's on Leicester beating West Ham, if I'm honest. So I think Leicester might just pip it because I think they had a good team on the day. Leicester, you know, I don't think I've ever seen a decent performance from Everton apart from when they fucking beat us. That chuffing.
But what it right that what you said, Luke? Because I was done with football for the. I didn't even check. But what it right what you said about Barnes and Maddison didn't play?
Didn't start last night.
Because I think if they don't have them, then I don't think they get past West Ham. But
they came on.
West Ham,
we don't know,
in terms of the approach that they're taking that game, it's anybody's guess as to who they'll field. It was a real surprise that they fielded such a strong side against us. Really, I didn't expect Rice to play, and I think if Rice doesn't play, that's a different game. He bossed that game.
What's
win, draw or lose? Luke's out on the booze.
Brolin says already given mine, lads. No idea.
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it. To do it again, Jay, you little bastard.
Maybe. Oh no, he said it there. 4-0.
Where is it? I told her 4-1. I want far off.
You on?
I hope that comes in, Jay, and we stay up and we can go like this to all these fuckers.
Yeah.
4-1. It's not going to happen, but yeah, we'll never.
I'll take it. You can have the predictions league if it means we stay up. I don't mind.
I cashed my bet out, by the way, the other day, just on the off chance. Just on the off chance. I got 315 quid back, so I'll get everyone on side. Not everybody who's listening. Not everybody who's listening, 110 people.
Yeah. Do you think it's your fault that we've got to this point now because you placed that bet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's certain elements to that.
It was also my fault that we conceded 4 shit goals against Crystal Palace at home as well. 5, sorry.
I reckon, right? If we do stay up, we all come on in Jay's black vests.
I've already promised, and you can get this live now. If we stay up, I will run on the pitch and I will penguin dive.
That's not a good idea.
I thought it was going to be a tattoo.
No tattoos. In fact, fuck it, I'll get Sam Allardyce's name somewhere on my body if we stay up.
But the thing about the penguin dive, which I think sounds really, really
I might get banned, might I?
Is you are going to lose your season
definitely, 100%.
You will almost certainly get banned.
What happens if loads of people go on the pitch? Surely we won't. It's a bit Tim Pot in it if we do stay up. But it would be a miracle.
Fucking hell.
I think if there's a last minute, the crowd are going to know. So I've got a 5G phone, but I never get any signal. But somebody's going to know in that crowd. We are going to know what position we're in. If there's any chance that Everton lose, Leicester lose, and we win, if there's any chance that that's happening, we're going to know about it. And I think if there's a late goal in our game, that means
there's going to be pockets of people celebrating.
People are on the pitch. People are on the pitch.
Yeah, at me, I'm on the pitch.
It's happening. People are on the pitch. If that,
it's not going to happen. Stop getting me excited.
It's not going to happen. That's why I'm saying it.
What does Michael got on about here? Transfer Luke. Does that mean get rid of me? Twat.
Just Joe's coming for an undisclosed fee.
Is that what he meant?
I don't
know.
I was just trying to look at the comments to see if there were any other Lukes. I don't think there is. He just pinned you off.
Luke, get a Jesse tattoo if we stay up more like, yeah. Oh dear.
Nah, I will get. I get big. I'll get no. That's what I said. I'd get big spam on a spam. On a tin of spam.
Yeah.
Big spam. A tin of spam with the words big spam.
I don't know how you've managed to get this, Shelley, from the... Shelley's said, please don't start giving me hope again. I don't know how you've managed to get that from this show.
We've all said none of it's happening.
It's not happening.
Hang on. I starred a fan's prediction. It was the first fan's prediction, and somebody's
It was
unstarred it.
It was 3-1. It was me.
Who would it by?
Carl. Carl McMichael. 3-1 leads.
Carl McMichael.
Yes. Decapitato's tattoo.
Nice. So we're all staying up and we're all happy with it, yeah? Sound?
Yeah.
Saudi put 3-1 as well. But probably to Everton. We're not even playing Everton, so fuck knows why I put that.
No, I think it was Saudi that were first. I think it was.
Was it
Oh,
3-1?
fucking hell. No, hopefully not.
Is it right,
I'd
Rogers?
take it.
I'd take it.
I'd rather have Nuno if I had to pick out a few.
I've not seen Nuno linked. Everybody's talking Potter. Everybody's talking Rodgers.
Yeah.
Fucking nonsense.
Nuno, Rodgers, Potter. Do you know, we could do worse than any of them.
Yeah. And you never know now. We probably know that it's not going to be some douchebag that's in, fourth division at Hull, the Dutch league or whatever's, now that Orta's
Absolutely
gone,
not. Skip. Nope. No.
It's already been referred to as United Luke for half of this season.
Yeah. No, that was last season, wasn't it?
No, well, last season.
It's carried on into the season, didn't it? It's only just gone away, and then I brought it back.
One guy called me when I was arguing on Twitter and then fucking blocked me, the twat.
Didn't somebody call you it on a match day when you were at an away day as well?
Yeah, Leicester away. He winked at me when he'd said it. I was at bar, I said, sorry, mate. He went, no worries, United, Luke.
Shit house. That's ace. I love that. Yes, yeah. I would not take Stevie G.
Absolutely not.
It's just a glorified. He's just similar to bloody Frank Lampard, isn't he?
He is. I said that on Twitter yesterday. He is just living on past glories. That's all it is.
No.
Oh, has anybody got a fucking bitter to do tonight?
Yes, Smarty.
No, I've pretty much just, I've relieved myself of any bitterness over the an hour and 30 minutes that we've been on here. So, yes, no, I've alleviated myself of any bitter.
Have you?
Luke, what's
clean
this
that up
about?
before Mrs. sees.
Luke takes Smarty out for lunch to a place. What for? What?
Is that if we stay?
I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it.
Is it his birthday? What's going on?
No, not for another 6 months.
I've just read it slightly differently now. In that, would you take Benitez from behind? It's
to that
the
point of the night
OnlyFans
where
stuff is about to start, isn't it?
It's all going
Rubber
down
Julie's
the
not
drain.
been mentioned yet. We tend to get Rubber Julie
fuck.
mentioned in comments.
Told Julie's not been on.
Yeah, I think we've probably said enough for the last 90 minutes. Just think, in that time we've been speaking, we might have seen Leeds be relegated on Sunday, or we might have seen Leeds stay up miraculously.
It's not happening.
No.
Oh, with my winnings. Absolutely not. He's tight. He squeaks when he walks, does that bastard?
Tighter than a submarine.
I've been to his house twice.
Did he on Smarty Towers?
I've been to his house twice. I've not even been offered a brew. Not
Give a
once.
door a bang.
You're Southerner now. You're not even worthy of a Yorkshire tea bag.
PG tips. I ain't got any Yorkshire tea. I've only got PG tips. You can't come in.
I don't want to embarrass myself.
Right then, I think that's a wrap, guys. Unless you've got anything else you want to talk
That's a
about.
nut. That's a nut wrap.
That's a nut wrap. Is that what I
That's a
said?
nut wrap, lads.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Do you
when
offer
it gonna be
vajazzles
that's
as well?
enough, and you changed it to that's a wrap. That's a nut wrap.
What was it? That's enough wrap. I don't know.
That's a wrap. Oh, that's enough.
Anyway,
Who
everybody,
knows?
thank you for joining us. There probably won't be a B&C after the Spurs game unless we miraculously do the unthinkable, and we'll do it from a pub, absolutely off our tits.
Yes.
And it's the only eventuality
outside
But
of
other
Peacock,
than that,
probably.
Yeah.
Other than that, we've just got probably next week or maybe in a couple of weeks' time, we'll do a bit of a season, not a review, but just a bit of a thank you to everybody who watches and talk about what we can potentially look forward to in the new season. So thanks ever so much, everybody. Busy one tonight. I think we got quite a fair few. So please do hit like if you have watched it or if you're watching it back.
Please subscribe
tomorrow.
to our channel.
And do subscribe. 101.99 now. Yeah, all fucking off because we're doing all the nice bits. Oh, Gilly wants something to say.
Yeah, just one last thing is we're right on the cusp of finishing our challenge. So from the 1st of April to the 28th of May, we were undertaking a challenge of making our way under our own steam from Elland Road to the Spurs Stadium and back, or the equivalent of, because we weren't actually doing that journey, but we were doing the equivalent of it. So myself, Luke, Big Lou from LS11, and Irish Carl and Bren, we were all undertaking this challenge, and great bunch of lads. And we're really close to the date, and there's some squeaky bums going on. Some of us have finished our challenge, but there are some squeaky bums going on. It's going to be quite tight to that deadline.
I was going to say,
and
what about
some
knees?
really creaky knees along with the squeaky bums. So for everybody that's donated and everybody that's supported us, it has meant a lot throughout, because there's been some really difficult times through it. It's not been an easy one. So thank you, everybody. And if you were intending to predict, and payday's coming up and whatever else, if you can do predict.
Intending to predict. It's all going Pete Tong.
Donate. Anybody that was intending to donate, and payday coming up, and we know that it's difficult. So every bit that goes towards it, it means a lot to us. So thanks to everybody that has, and thanks to everybody that does, and thanks to you lads as well, because I think we've all supported each other. So it's been really positive. So well done to us all.
I
I
think
think.
saying I was taking piss out of Luke's knees and shit, but I did support you. In all fairness,
You did.
Well, yeah, well done, everybody. Obviously, I'm taking it a bit slower than everybody else at the minute, but yeah, well done. I'm really chuffed and proud of you all. It's been a fucking tough slog, and especially for people like, having to force themselves to go out and actually do something that they weren't doing before. It's been really good, So yeah, one last thing, Andy's Man Club, always mention it towards the end. I think it's Monday nights. There was a new one opened last week as well that we mentioned, or the week before. So do go check them out. If anyone's struggling with the season, how it's gone, don't let it bother you too much. It is only fucking football. Stay happy. Stay. You've still got families and friends and everybody else who need you and loves you. So fuck football for one.
And you've got us, and we'll still be here next season.
No, we're trying to build people up, Smarty.
What more could you possibly want than our ugly mugs on a fucking screen every Tuesday night? I mean,
I think in those times, it's important to remember what Bielsa taught us. That was, don't get too high when it's good, and don't get too low when it's bad.
Yeah, I can't help it.
There'll be good times and there'll be bad times, and it's a cyclical thing of football. And we will be back.
We will.
So it's that thing of trying to not let it get on top of you, along with a lot of other stuff that's difficult right now. So anybody that wants to talk to anybody, anybody can get in touch with us. If you're struggling with anything, our DMs are open. You can get in touch with the pod, or you can get in touch with any of our individual accounts and what have you.
Slide into my DMs. It's a risky.
God help you.
It's a bit gnarly in there. This is where Smarty's Mrs. comes in and starts slapping fuck out of his head.
I'll get an iron thrown at me Swede. Just knock it straight back. Fuck him.
And there'll be a few of us about in Peacock at weekend, no doubt. So if you want to come and say hello, then do so.
Yeah, if you're in there, come say hello to us.
Yeah, ups and downs.
We'll console each other.
We've been through it all together, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? Let's do it.